It's Desiree, and I am here with Paper Rose, and today we're going to get a little grungy. I was looking at these two stamp sets, and the large bloom is called Hattie's Bloom, and the one with the two blooms is called Helen's Blooms. And I just fell in love with these. There was just something about them. I'm going to use the Hello Fine script as my sentiment. But I just fell in love with these. It's a nice big bloom for the one. They're nice size. These would be great for watercoloring. They would be great for alcohol markers and even those pencils. Although I do think the largest bloom is a little too big for pencils, but by all means, it certainly can be. I wanted to have fun with embossing. But I did not want a mask. I love the mask look when you can create those scenes and all that, but I just did not want to do that with these. They just didn't look like they needed it. So we're going to create this double effect. I'm going to use Uncharted Mariner for my ink, and these are the main stamps. Now we're going to do that in threes. And I'm going to stamp it a couple times. Now the beauty, I'm using my Distress Oxide. The beauty with oxides is they are a pigment and a dye ink blend. They will stay wet longer, which means I can emboss on top of it. I want to get a clear embossing powder on top of this. And plus I love the color Uncharted Mariner. Ooh. And I'm going to heat set that. So I'm going to get this glossy look to that. This panel here is a piece of Bristol. Canson XL Bristol vellum. It's like the Bristol Smooth. But it just has slight texture to it. There's not much difference between the two. But I also wanted to have white ones in the back, meaning just stamp with clear ink and use clear powder and heat set that. That's what we're going to do, but I'm stamping over what I've already stamped. I'm not going to mask them. I'm not going to hide them in the background. Now, what I'm also doing too, you can see I'm applying a lot of pressure. And I'm making sure that these stamps are really inked up. And I'm only doing a few of them at a time. So I'm going to get this different look. Again, I love these images. I think they are amazing. I think they'd even be amazing layered on top of each other. We're going to add just a couple more. Hitting the edges, making sure I go off the edge, and you can't see them because again it's clear ink and I'm putting clear powder on top, and we're going to heat set them. So I did it in stages. I did not know what this was going to look like. I was not sure if this was going to be an epic fail. Because again, I'm crossing over. I'm stamping on top of those three that I have. So I pulled in my splatter box and I'm positioning that piece to stand upright because I want the inks to come down. Now, when it comes to sprays, I do like to put a little bit of the spray down and then spray it with water. That gets the ink, the pigment, and the spray moving. The first color was Speckled Egg, and the second was Ground Espresso, both Distress Oxide sprays. I like the chalkiness of that look. Now, because it's still wet, you can somewhat see the white flowers in the back. This really has to dry so that you can see this. I pulled out my mini die cutter and I'm just getting my sentiment ready. for our panel. I'm using a dark chocolate brown for the hello, and I'm using a white for the back, and we're going to change that a little bit. I'm going to add some vintage photo to that so that we can get that a little bit more grungy. So different type of mixed media here, but it's definitely edgy, definitely grungy looking, and I love that. I think you can get some beautiful panels. I'm layering up my sentiment. I cut 2 of the clouds and 1 of the sentiment itself. We're going to get that in place. And again, I just chose hello. I love having these in my stash. They are ready to send to somebody, just to send them a note. And I can put that in there if they just need a little smile. So I went around the edges with the vintage photo, and I have this very soft old makeup brush that I found, and I'm just brushing some vintage photo across the top, and you can see it changed the color. We're going to trim our panel down. This is 1/4 of a 9x12 sheet, so it's 4.5 by 6. I want this panel to go down to 4 by 5.25, but I don't want to lose all of my images. I want a little bit of all the images to be in there. You can see how, now that this is dry, I did wipe it with a cloth just to make sure that I could get the spray off of the clear areas that I had, and those flowers are just popping. Now, because there was a lot of water added to this, a lot of heat embossing going on, I am going to use my double-sided 2-inch film tape from Uline so I can get this flat onto my card. This tape is not forgiving. It is very strong. It is awesome. But the moment it touches paper, it's down. And if there's any moisture in there, instead of buckling, it'll actually keep it flat. I mean, I still have this card in front of me, and it's completely flat, which is what I love. Set the hello in place, and I pulled out some dark gemstones from my stash and just adding a few in the centers. And I really like the effect. I like the way that the white, even though we stamped it last, is actually behind the blue flowers. So something new. I'm sure others, as a matter of fact, I know others have done this before, but again, maybe it's a quicker way to do it because I did not want to mask. I just was not in the mood to do that. So I hope I gave you some tips and tricks. Hope I gave you a new way to think about heat embossing and getting those different colors to get on your card, and just letting the colors be and having fun with it. The products that I used will be listed down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions, leave those down below, and someone will get back to you as soon as we can. Take care, enjoy your day, but most of all, always be creative, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Till then.